Welcome back, everybody. It's day 2 of the 31 days of Halloween. Most people call it a challenge, but to me, this is every day. So, for day number 2, I watched John Carpenter's Body Bags. Now, I think I saw this movie like maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't know. There's only little bits that I remember, so this is pretty much completely fresh for me. This was a Showtime movie by John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper. It kind of seems like John Carpenter's answer to Romero's Creepshow. It's a horror anthology, and it never played in theaters. It was a Showtime movie. So the wraparound is actually it's John Carpenter. He's kind of a mortician, and he's walking around a morgue, and he's going through different bodies, and then he kind of tells the story of what happened with these bodies. So the first story is called The Gas Station, and it's kind of a classic horror tale. A girl goes to work at a gas station, and there's news reports on the radio that there's a serial killer loose, and the rest unfolds. You pretty much know where it's heading. This is probably the best segment, and it's directed by John Carpenter. And as I was watching it, I was like, why don't directors film movies like this anymore? Like, it's so well filmed. Like, it's just so good. And there are jump scares in it. I think we've kind of forgotten that jump scares have existed before modern day horror films. This one stars, actually, it's got a couple different cameos. Wes Craven has a cameo. Sam Raimi has a really cool cameo, and then from American Werewolf in London, David Naughton has a little bit of a cameo too. It's pretty. Buck Flower plays a hobo. It's really good. Like I said, it's the best segment. There's no reason to really get into it because it's tried and true. There's also a cool reference to Haddonfield that happens between David Naughton and the female lead. The second story is called Hair, and this one stars Stacy Keach. And it's kind of a guy going through a midlife crisis where he wants to have really long hair. He's thinning, so he's doing all these crazy things to get his hair back. He's like painting his head with the spray to make it look like he's got hair, and he has this girlfriend that's telling him like, hey, look, it's okay, I like you the way you are, but he just needs to have hair. He demands it. And there's actually a really cool cameo by Greg Nicotero in this one, because Greg Nicotero has very, very long hair, and so he's kind of one of these guys when Stacy Keach is looking at these people walking along the street that all have really long hair. Greg Nicotero is kind of just walking his dog. It's a really funny segment, especially if you know Greg Nicotero. And I mean, even most people will know who he is from The Walking Dead. So, and he finds this doctor who's doing this special procedure to rejuvenate people's hair, and of course things don't go as planned, and that's basically the segment. This is a pretty good one. I can't really say whether this one is any better than the last segment. It's pretty average. I mean, coming off of the first segment, this is a little bit of a step down, but it's still a pretty good one. The last one is called I, and this one stars Mark Hamill. And he plays a baseball player who, on his way home to meet his wife, he gets into a car accident and he damages his right eye. Like it's a pretty gruesome scene. Like a freaking piece of the windshield slams right into his eyeball. It looks like if you've ever seen Zombie or Zombie 2 from Lucio Fulci, the splinter in the eye, the famous scene. It looks just like that. Like I almost wonder if it's a direct kind of homage to that film because it looks so similar. And Mark Hamill is really, really good in this segment. And this was directed by Tobe Hooper. Tobe Hooper did this one. And it kind of shows a little bit. This is another one where, like I said, I don't know. I think it is slightly better than Hair simply because Mark Hamill is very, very good in this one. So it's a pretty good segment. And then let's see, Roger Corman makes a special appearance in this one. There's so many cameos throughout this. Roger Corman is in this one. and then it closes out with kind of like the ending part of John Carpenter, and there is a cameo by Toby Hooper and Tom Arnold. And the whole thing is kind of done tongue-in-cheek. The only one that's not really done tongue-in-cheek is Toby Hooper's segment. That one is probably the only one that's very, very serious. All the other ones are a little bit kind of goofy. Like, I think the reason I like the gas station segment is that Sam Raimi makes a cameo, but the way that it's shot, it almost feels like Sam Raimi directed it. It really does. It feels that way. And I think that's why I like that segment the most. Overall, this is a really good movie. I mean, for me, this would be like 4 out of 5, maybe 4.5 out of 5. I think I would stick with 4 out of 5 just because the other two segments aren't quite as good as the first one. The wraparound is fantastic, but the gas station is the one you really need to see. And it's really fun, especially if you know all these guys and you can recognize them right away. And the other thing I would say is that this movie is very 90s. Like, the way all the actors look, there's different, like, placement of different products around where you're like, you see the old designs, or like the old Pepsi cans, and kind of there's a TV guide that's got Barney on it. There's a whole bunch of, like, and the way they're dressed and the way everybody's hair is. And that's the funny thing about the segment hair, is that it's almost like this Fabio look that he wants to get. The style of hair that he gets is called the Stallion. And so this is kind of like when very long hair was like the thing, you know? So I'd highly recommend this one to anyone, especially if you're a horror fan. This is really good. For anybody who's like kind of new coming into horror and aren't used to like older films, this may feel a little aged, especially because, like I said, it's very 90s. For me, that's a plus. I love all that about the film. So if you're doing something similar to what I am, 31 Days of Halloween, or you just want to see a good movie, Body Bag should definitely be on your list. So that does it for this review. Like I said, I give it a solid 4 out of 5. It's on Shudder right now, and it periodically jumps onto Amazon Prime. But if you have to hunt it down, I would suggest it. I mean, it's got a really good Blu-ray release too. So thanks guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I've got another, 29 reviews coming. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.